Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to our Friday afternoon design session together. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to everyone that's listening to the recording as well. If you'd like to put in the chat where you're calling in from and something you're feeling grateful for Friday afternoon, morning, where Delvin is. So it's
Welcome. So glad to see
myself.
everybody.
Yeah, it's me and Delvin Solkinson over in Canada, who's at the other end of the day, and not the morning really properly there yet for him. So I appreciate that you've woken up early for us, Delvin. And yeah, welcome. Thank you all for joining us.
I'm so excited to be here to help center design at the heart of education, part of the integrated annual diploma and education gatherings, supporting people to improve their design work, get to know each other, and reach more people. Our session today is about practicing diploma level design skills. So we're going to utilize the permaculture principle design from patterns to details. And we're going to explore the patterns of diploma level designing with a chance to practically apply that pattern in the context of your own unique life details.
Yes, so in this session today, it's going to be a very nice, relaxed session that's going to center on our own design process. So we're going to be going through a design for our week ahead and enjoying some music and some design time and also some connection time as well. And what we're trying to do here is model for you or help you experience doing a design from start to finish that is diploma level and fits all the criteria and is contained and boundaried. And I'll say a bit more about that at the moment. And we're using a design guide that's from my new book, Design Adventures, and we'll be using the seed deck, which has gone from my. We'll be also using the seed deck as well during this call and going through the design web. So that's what we'll be doing in the next 2 hours. It's great to see all these people coming in from Sweden and Cumbria and Wales and France and Croatia. It's great to have you all here.
We want to inspire everyone about the practical benefit of designing regularly. I mean, we're designing every day, we're making decisions all the time. Yet one of the design blocks that sometimes come up is not wanting to take that time to write up the design. There's so much learning that comes from writing up the design. And it allows us to use the permaculture toolkit and cultural emergence to drive design decisions and inform what's happening. And of course, it's pleasurable too, because we get this designer recliner. We get this time we're going to share today where we get to really think about what we're going to do before we're going to do it. And Looby and I have been working together on a group diploma adventure where we've been encouraging people to do their 10 diploma designs. And so this today is going to be a practice, an opportunity to do some work on our own lives wherever we are. I'm really excited to share it with you. Eleanor Roosevelt said it takes as much energy to wish as it does to plan. So we're going to try and ground in some of our dreams or ideas about what's going to happen and put a little bit more intention into it.
So one of the challenges I've seen as a senior tutor with the diploma is that designs expand and then expand more and then expand more, and when we're designing for living systems, which we are, they grow and they evolve and they change, and it's like, where's that point of completion? Where is that point at which I say, yes, that design is done, I can write it up and go on to the next design? And I see this time and time again, and that people struggle with this of like, when is a design complete? And if you've got 10 designs that are not complete, the journey, the diploma journey for some people can go on for years and years and years and decades. And it's like, well, actually, that isn't really the point of the diploma. The point of the diploma is to do 10 designs and feel competent to continue designing. Not that it's it's a multi-decade process. So I encourage people, and I've been talking about this in my new book, Design Adventures, to do like mini adventures, and I call them microgreen designs because they're very boundaried. And if you've grown microgreens, you know that there's a very quick rotation of sowing them growing and harvesting and benefiting from the nutrients and then carrying on. And so I encourage people on the group diploma adventure to do, and the courses that I do on the design web, to do microgreens designs which are very boundary. They have a very short cycle from designing to doing to implementing and reflecting, so that you get to see that entire cycle. And so there's a very distinct boundary on it, so you get to know that sense of completion. You get to know, okay, yes, I've been through the whole process, I can reflect on it. And so, but when you get to know that sense of completion, then you have then you're more able to see that and feel that in other bigger designs as well. So one of the ways of creating boundaries, there's many different ways of kind of creating boundary designs for yourself, but one of them is to choose a time boundary. So that's what we're going to do today, is to design your week ahead, because all of you will have a week ahead, and you can do a design and things will turn out differently, and you won't have a control design of like what would have happened without it, but you will get a sense, because you've had many weeks before, of what has been different with your designing your week ahead. So that's what we're going to be doing today, taking you through the design for a week ahead. We're going to be putting on music, so we're just going to have quite a nourishing Friday afternoon, because I know it's that time of the week where it's nice to reflect on what's happened and then have a plan for your next week. And you can choose for yourself. You might want to have your week starting tomorrow, and it might be a 10-day week, or it might be, I want to do Monday to Friday or Monday to Sunday. That's, you'll know for yourself what that kind of uh, period of time of a week means, is meaningful for you. So it doesn't really matter, just whatever's meaningful for you. Okay, over to you, Delvin.
Well, I wouldn't mind throwing in a couple of tools. Design tools are something you can use at one or more places in your design process. And this is the pattern level, and we're going to go into the details. So one of the things we created is a diploma design criteria summary sheet that just lists the criteria that we're looking for in a design. And this is something you could have up on another screen now or just review later. But it's a tool you can use as a bit of a designer's checklist to make sure that your design is holistic and that you touch all of these different points. You connect with the ethics, that you use principles, that you use tools, and that you use a framework, which we're going to use the design web framework for this one. And it gives structure, guidance, supports holistic decision making, and is a tool that we feel is really valuable. And it's really at the heart of the Permaculture Association diploma design process. And Gemma's going to throw that into the chat. And there's a second tool, another self-assessment tool this helps you. You don't always need to reach out to a tutor or someone more experienced to understand whether your design has achieved the diploma level criteria. So Looby did a self-assessment tool, which is a series of questions that you could ask yourself, or you could work with a partner and have them ask you, or you could ask each other. And these can really help support you to understand what the different elements are, the pieces of this puzzle. And then you can just see how those land and how you can integrate those into your design process. So we are going to be working with the design web and the new seed deck. I wonder, Looby, if you want to do a little introduction to that as we roll right into things.
Yeah, so I think maybe many of you already know about the design web because it has been around for a while, since People and Permaculture came out in 2012. I know there's definitely quite a few people on the call here who have already used it. So this is the design web here, which it has 12 anchor points and is a non-linear framework. And I think Gemma's going to put a link in there for a page on my website which has an image of the design web, so you can follow along with that as well. And then the design web is, has evolved since I've been developing the cultural emergence toolkit, which is an evolution of permaculture, of people and permaculture, of social permaculture. It brings in more nature connection, more awareness of culture, more systems thinking, and it weaves all of these things together. And so that's what's in my book. In my book Cultural Emergence, which is also then in the seed, this is contained within the seed deck, as a different way of engaging with it with cards. So we will be using the design family, which is the design web, and I'll be sharing that. So you'll have, you can open up the link there to follow along. And what we do, if people just take a minute to grab some paper for themselves. If you've got like an A3 piece of paper, that's really nice, but you can do work in a work notebook or whatever you have to hand, and some pens, some color pens if you want them. So we'll just take a moment for people to gather supplies, and before we start our process, and then we'll have some time at the end. So we'll just be going through the anchor points with questions, with some guidance and with some music, and then we'll have time to reflect, and we will at one point go into breakout rooms as well. Okay, so yeah, go grab your paper, and let's. Okay. Looks like people are ready. So we will start with some reflection. So this is the card for reflection. So with the seed deck, I chose more than human beings to represent each of the anchor points to bring in some nature connection and feel into the archetypes of different beings. So for the reflection, we have the dragonfly. You can see that. And we are be like the dragonfly with 360-degree vision. So we're going to be reflecting on your previous week. So reflecting on this week that's just gone, and we're going to use the design tool of roses, thorns, and seeds. So looking at roses, like what were the beautiful parts of your week? What were the beautiful, sweet smelling parts? What went well? And then the thorns, like what was difficult, what was challenging? And then moving into the seeds, what do you want to take forward? So that's and we will be going through this design process, fairly quickly, and that's part of it, to learn to do like quick designs and take take what's on the surface there, and you can always go back and add more to these. So roses, thorns, and seeds. You have your music on again, Delvin.
There it is. All right, I'll set a timer for a few minutes.
So what I missed a bit of information there. So you might want to put in the middle of your week, like design your week ahead, and then a mind map kind of coming off from that with the anchor points. But however you do it, it's fine. And the seeds are lessons to take forwards.
Honramos las aguas de la tierra.
Wow, that was really great. I'm doing a crowdfunder right now for some art cards, and my wife Grace, who just joined the group Diploma Adventure, did a design for this month. So this is kind of a design within a design for me to think about the week ahead and how we're going to approach it successfully. Interesting to reflect and learn from the past. Sometimes we don't take enough time to do that. Next up, we're going to think about our vision and what we want to achieve. We're working from patterns to details here. And yeah, this is going to anchor the design. This is going to drive the design. And as we go through the process, we're going to be referring back to our vision at every step. Really, one of the questions is this going to support us on the journey to achieve our vision? You want to talk a little bit about vision, Looby?
Yeah, so with the vision card, we have the owl. And this is about widening our owl vision. What would we like to happen? What are the abundances we want to create in our lives? What are your wildest dreams? And allow yourself to dream and create goals. So, this is what we're doing with vision. We're expanding into possibilities and to not feel like that, oh, I'd like that to happen but it won't, but to just feel into what we would like to happen. And often the universe finds a way of responding when we share our visions. So there's many ways in which you can look at your goals for the week. One of them that we can do now is to think about what are the three qualities that you would like to embody in your week ahead. So, what's your vision for that? What are the three qualities you'd like to bring in? And also, then bringing in the ethics of permaculture. What are the ways you are going to bring in the ethics of earth care, people care, and fair shares? What would that mean for you? What's your vision of growing them for yourself in the week ahead? So that's the vision anchor point, your the three qualities you want to bring in, and how your vision for the ethics for the week ahead. Thank you, Gemma, for putting them in the chat.
Dos alas de un razón, la magia del agua, el fuego, la danza de la luna y el sol, como la tierra ama al cielo, como la tierra ama al cielo. Vuela, vuela, pájaro del amor, con el viento que viene del corazón, aprendiendo a abrir en el vuelo del amor. La magia de la mujer, la fuerza del hombre, unidos en el vuelo del amor. Hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, yo. Hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, yo. Hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, yo. Hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, yo. Hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, yo. Hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, yo. Hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, yo. Hey Ana.
Wonderful. The vision, oftentimes to help to anchor the vision in and also to support people who are reading and learning from the design. We do a design brief, which is like a short summary of what you're doing with the design and why. What are the core aims and goals? So this might be a sentence or two, but this could maybe help anchor your vision, move from that bigger level into a more specific level of what are some of the core aims and goals that you're wanting to do with your design, that you're wanting to achieve in the week ahead. Let's just take a couple of minutes to write a little design brief.
Hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, hey Ana, yo. Chirik, 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 sanango, abuelito poderoso. Chirik, 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 sanango, sanando nuestro camino. Brilla tu luz interior. En el camino misterio, camino muy sagrado. Maravillosa planta de la selva, conectar con las visiones del cielo y de la tierra, de la tierra. Chirik, 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 sanango con tu luz y claridad. Chirik, 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 sanango mostrar amor y la verdad.
Right, great everyone. So that was really useful. It was really useful for me. I've been my week ahead is to actually finish my book, and in the reflection, I was noticing how I was maybe getting caught up in a, oh my God, it's all too much sort of stress. So that was my thorns. And then, so in my vision, the qualities I wanted to bring in was like, okay, I'm going to stay focused, but I'm going to stay really cheerful during this. And so that was a really good reframing for me, personally, to see that. And I like how, seeing the connections of like that, I wouldn't necessarily have picked that quality for myself if I hadn't have done that reflection first and seen like, oh, okay, actually, what do I want to change here? So I'm already feeling like I've had a really good insight for my week ahead, and we've still got 10 anchor points to go. So that's great. Sometimes the insights come really quickly with designs, and then the rest of it kind of builds upon that and grows. And sometimes the insights and the that don't come till later, but whatever happens is fine. So we're
Looby,
going to be
maybe I'll
moving on.
pop in and share a quick reflection on that too. I wanted to note sometimes when we're using the ethics, there's a tendency to reflect on how the ethics are already present in the design. And by bringing them in with intention of how are we going to apply the ethics directly to design, they inform and guide the design and lead to insights. So this is like using the ethics as a design tool, not just as a reflection. So I just wanted to encourage that because it was helpful for me. And I put in a bunch of self-care into this week ahead too. Thanks, Looby.
Yeah, that's great. So we're going to move on to helps and limits now. So with the helps, we have we have the mycelium here, helping us, supporting us, creating this network of support that we are part of, and then the limits, which we'll move on to, are the nettles. But let's start with the helps. So we're looking at, with the helps, we're looking at the get bigger here, so that we're looking at the mycelium, and we're looking at what are the helps, what are the sports that we have, and the skills and the qualities, and yeah, everything that we have both within us and around us to support us. And then thinking about yeah, so being like the mycelium and creating symbiotic relationships. So we might also be thinking about the helps of like, how can we be helpful out in the world? So different ways of looking at help. So here with the helps, think of 3 internal resources that you have and 3 external resources that's going to support your
mostrar amor y la verdad. Tu profunda vibración canta para nosotros tu canción de protección. Planta doctorcita de la selva, raíces fuertes que escuchan a los rezos de la dieta. Tronco kushikayari, tronco kushikayari, tronco kushikayari. Icaritos mariri, icaritos mariri, icaritos mariri. En la selva luminosa, en la selva luminosa, poderosa, milagrosa, amorosa.
Great. Well, one of the things we want to do in all our designs is identify the clients. Those are people who will be helping us design and implement our design and who we're going to be helping by designing. So, of course, you are the client for this design for your week ahead. And there's also going to be other people that the design is supporting too. Every design is collaborative. We've been working on this a lot in our group diploma adventure. There's always people that are involved in the design, and the more that we can include them and collaborate with them, the more it will help us to come to decisions that benefit everybody. So I focused on my design for the week ahead on some of the people I'm going to be working with this week, both how I can help them and also how I can best utilize their help. How did that go for you, Looby?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, one of the things that occurred to me when I was doing that helps anchor point was actually the Mother Nature principle of asking for help and being proactive. So, with the helps anchor point, sometimes we identify a gap in the support we need, and when we do that, we can use that principle of asking for help and really thinking about who it is that can support us, because often people don't know what help you need until you ask, and then they're like, yeah, sure, I can do that. So I put on my help, ask the group diploma adventure for someone that was up for proofreading for me. So that was, yeah, that was an insight from the help anchor point. And now we're moving into limits, and limits and helps really are great dancing partners in the design web. And sometimes the same thing can appear on helps and limits. So the limits, we've got the nettles here, and the limits are the things that might be blocking our paths. Nettles are often blocking our paths, aren't they? And they can be then hidden, invisible limits. Or what are your hesitancies and self-limiting beliefs? And then the work to do is to flip, reframe, view, or use limits differently. So nettles, could be seen as something that's really annoying and like just a weed. But actually, I think, all of us here know that nettles are actually superfoods, and they're great to eat, and they're great for making liquid fertilizer, and they've got all sorts of uses, even though they can sting. And that's the same with limits, is that when we look at them in different ways, they actually support our designs rather than are just things that kind of get in the way. So with trying to find my notes. So with the limits, we are looking at three things. It's kind of what we're doing in the design, is finding three things for each anchor point. So what are the three things that might stop you or block your path this week? And to also think about what are the things that might distract you that actually need you to put a limit on. So it's also, limits can also be things that we don't have that could be useful. For example, I might spend too much time scrolling on Instagram, and I want to put a limit of 20 minutes a day or something like that. So it's also thinking about what limits you might benefit from putting in there. So three things that might stop you or block your path this week, and thinking about what might distract you.
Saunan annan puhdistella, saunan annan puhdistella. Pyhän löylyn lämmintellä, pyhän löylyn lämmintellä. Puhdistella kehoani, puhdistella kehoani. Uudistella tajuntaani, uudistella tajuntaani.
luotu herää luovaksi, luotu herää luovaksi, siunaamaan elon pyhäksi, siunaamaan elon pyhäksi. Yhteyttä kokemaan, yhteyttä kokemaan, rintansa rakastamaan, rintansa rakastamaan, laulunsa kajahtamaan,
Okay,
laulunsa kajahtamaan.
so that's our limits, and we will come back to limits when we go to integration, because there's quite a connection between the two, where the limits become our needs and what we build into our designs. So over to you, Delvin, to start us off with patterns.
Brilliant. Thanks so much. Yeah, that limits is always a real unlock for me. I think I have a tendency to do too many things at once. So I was thinking about structuring and scheduling a little bit more to address the challenge of overwhelm as I try and overpack my week ahead, as I tend to do, which is a pattern. And we're going to talk about patterns, see if I can, no, it looks like it works. This is the patterns card from the seed deck, which is a snake spiraled. And yeah, the world is made out of patterns. I think on the highest level, there's really only two kinds of patterns, those that work and those that don't. And in permaculture, we're trying to cultivate this pattern literacy where we're recognizing and identifying healthy and helpful patterns and unhelpful and dysfunctional patterns. So what we're going to explore in this part of the design is what helpful patterns do you have that you want to encourage or enhance or reinforce? And what unhelpful patterns do you want to let go of? Did you have anything to add to patterns before we jump into that, Looby?
Just with the snake of it's be like a snake and shed the skin of old patterns. So yeah, let's go for our patterns. So helpful and unhelpful patterns.
Padre Sol, canta taita, wilcata, hazme amanecer, Padre Sol, como tú amaneces en el cielo, amanece en mi corazón, como tú amaneces en el cielo, amanece en mi corazón, canta taita, wilcata, canta taita, wilcata. Como tu luz brilla en el fuego, brilla tu fuego en mi interior. Como tu luz brilla en el fuego, brilla tu fuego en mi interior. Como un cóndor que levanta vuelo, vuela bien alto nuestro amor. Como un cóndor que levanta vuelo, vuela bien alto nuestro amor. Hay colibrí de las alturas, llena de miel el corazón. Hay colibrí de las alturas, llena de miel el corazón. Canta taita, wilcata, canta taita, wilcata. Besa la piel de Pachamama, tu luz divina y tu calor. Besa la piel de Pachamama, tu luz divina y tu calor. Llena de fuerza las cascadas, llena los pechos de emoción. Llena de fuerza las cascadas, llena los pechos de emoción. Canta taita, wilcata, canta taita, wilcata. florecer en amor. Luz infinita de nuestras almas, esta canción es para vos. Luz infinita de nuestras almas, esta canción es para vos. Canta Taita, Wilka Tata, canta Taita, Wilka Tata, como tu luz brilla en el fuego, brilla tu fuego en mi interior, como tu luz brilla en el fuego.
Brilliant. Oh, I love it. Yeah, the design anchor points really dance with each other, and sometimes the boundary between them is really blurred and they work together. This time, limits led so perfectly into patterns for me, and I really thought about how to pattern my week ahead to avoid distractions and overwhelm by trying to do too many things at once, which I just identified in limits, and organize my approach so I can focus and be more present with what I'm doing. How did that go for you, Looby?
Yeah, yes, that was great. I also observed how helpful and unhelpful patterns can go together. So I had a helpful pattern of doing writing in the morning and doing artwork in the evening. But my unhelpful pattern was that felt like I could only do it those things at those time, and kind of then got locked into if I didn't write in the morning then it wasn't going to happen, or if I did or waiting till the evening to do my artwork rather than doing it earlier in the day. So that was really useful for me to see that relationship between the helpful and unhelpful patterns as well. So we're going to jump ahead with the design web is non-linear, and you can go round it in any order. And we've started at reflection. We've been working our way round, but we're going to go round now to integration and then come back to ideas. So with the integration anchor point, we have the spider here weaving the web. So it is the design web, and we are weaving this design together now with the integration anchor point. So I'll read it out to you. How can you integrate all the information gathered from the rest of your design? What are the needs of your design? How can you meet those needs? Bring your design together and make decisions. Be like the spider, weaving your design into an interconnected whole. So I have, I'm going to put in the chat here, I've some needs that might have come up, and they might have come up from, you might notice needs coming up when you did your vision, when you did the reflection. And I was saying about the limits, when you might like to flip them around. So one of my limits was about worrying, and so my need would be then to have positive self-talk around it instead of worrying. Replace that with some positive self-talk. So these needs that I put in here, you'll notice some of them are very much more about doing and kind of work focused, and some of them are more about play or being or self-care, however you like to phrase that. So I was listening to a talk yesterday, and there's a guy, Jim Quick, who was talking about accelerated learning and kind of a mind positive things. It was a Rewiring Your Beliefs World Summit, which is on at the moment if you want to discover it. And he said the most important thing is to make the most important thing the most important thing. So what is it, what is your most important things or things for the week ahead, and how can you make that, how can you make that your most important thing? Like, how can you keep that the most important for you? So so yeah, to have a look at those needs there, and you might think, oh, I've got all of them, but you know, choosing three or four is a really good way of like focusing your intention on like, yeah, discovering for yourself what is the most important things for yourself. So maybe you choose like a couple of two sort of worky ones and two play ones, or whatever you see. And there might as well obviously be more that you've surfaced for yourself through the design process. Do you have anything to add, Delvin, on choosing needs?
No, I think I'll just add that these will lead into design decisions, and a really key in all of our designs is sharing the important decisions and how or why they were made. And that comes back to, well, they were made because they're fulfilling these core needs that we identified through the process. So keep that in your mind as well as you go through this, of the needs and also different ways that they may be met and how that will be written up as we continue through the different anchor points in the future. And yeah, I love your quote. I'm glad you put it in there, Looby. It reminds me of the principle, which is an echo from the future of fill fundamental functions first, really thinking what are the most important needs to meet. So yeah, let's take a few minutes to jump into integration.
Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem. Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem nas ondas do mar. Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem na areia branca. Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem na espuma do mar. Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem na lua cheia. Fu, 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 fu. O som de Iemanjá. Fu, 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 fu. O som de Iemanjá. Fu, 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 fu. Sereias do mar. Fu, 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 fu. O som de Iemanjá. Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem. Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem nas ondas do mar. Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem na areia branca. Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem na espuma do mar. Que vai, que vem, que vai, que vem na lua cheia. Fu, 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 fu. O som de Iemanjá. Fu, 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 fu. O som de Iemanjá. Fu, 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 fu. As sereias do mar. Fu, 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 fu. O som de Iemanjá.
Great. So once you have your needs, then the next job is to think about how you might meet those needs. And we often sort of think or jump ahead to this of like how we can meet the needs, but it's useful to get some new perspectives. So that's what we'll be doing now, is jumping out of the integration anchor point into the ideas anchor point, where we have here the ideas is the flowers, and going for quantity of ideas. Like flowers, not all ideas will set seed. So we'll be using the intelligence of the group and going into breakout rooms. And the idea is here to share share your needs without the whole story that boxes the possibilities. So we have our own stories of what we can do and what we can't do. So we might I might have a need for cleaning or something, but I might be very much like, oh, I've got to do it then or in this way, but somewhere, and but if I just say to you, I have in my breakout rooms, I have the need for cleaning, and then maybe you come up with all sorts of different ways and different possibilities for me that I wouldn't have seen for myself, or that you wouldn't have seen if I'd given you the whole story. So here the idea is that you, in your breakout rooms, you will be sharing your needs, and then just the without the story, and then just the rest of you are giving as many ideas as possible, and then it's up to you which ones you want to take forward. But it will help us to break out of our usual patterns of what we do and what we think is possible. Do you have something to add, Delvin,
I'm
about
still
that?
thinking about that snake, the spiral snake. I love how ideas supports integration. I've actually never put ideas right after integration in this way. And it goes to show the design web, it can be played in so many different ways. It's a non-linear framework. And I'm actually going to use this more in the future. And in your designs, you can play with where to put each anchor point, even visiting anchor points multiple times and see what benefits come and how the different anchor points can dance with each other and support each other. So in terms of the snake, I think of the spiral, and you may want to have a timekeeper. I think we're going to do 10 minutes, which would give about 3 minutes each with transitions. There'll be 3 people in each group. So yeah, see if you can maybe spiral around, see if you don't take your full time. And if there's time extra, you can just keep spinning around and spiraling around the circle. And this will ensure that everyone gets a chance to contribute and support and be supported by the other people in the group. So I think Gemma's set up those. Anything to add, Looby?
If Yeah, if anyone doesn't want to be in a breakout room, you can stay in the main room if that's, I know it's, um, but yeah, it's also fun to meet other people and get a chance to harvest ideas from others. So maybe if we pause the recording as well, Gemma, as
Well, that was fun. Wow, I got pretty energized from interacting. Maybe that's a affirmation of the comment I made earlier that every design is collaborative, and the more people that are involved in it, the more energy and momentum that it has. Yeah, that was really great.
yeah, I got loads of great ideas in there as well, and yeah, really nice to hear and interact with people. So we're now moving into principles. So yeah, Delvin, do you want to share? Oh, here, let's do the principles card. So we have the principle cards of here we've got the butterfly. Be like the butterfly and embody the principles of emergence. So what principles support emergence in your design? What ideas do principles give you about the directions you want to take and how to get to your vision? Look through the lens of the principles for guidance. So there's many principles. We know that in permaculture we like our principles, and there are a set of cultural emergence principles. But before we choose some of those, Delvin, do you want to say something about principles in general and how they support our designs?
Yeah, I would love to. Principles are a passion of mine. There is so many. And one of the things that one of my teachers, Toby Hemingway, said to me once was principles are indicators of sustainability. And I think if he was around now, he might say principles are indicators of regeneration, since we've kind of reframed sustainability in that way in permaculture in the last 10 years. And they really represent to me the secrets of nature's success, not just the success of the nature, the ecosystem, but also the success of people, our inner nature, our outer nature, because of course we're part of nature. So the idea is to use the principles, again, as I mentioned with the ethics, not simply as a reflective tool, which sure, if we reflect that they're present in the design, that is a really good sign, but as tools that inspire new ideas, that drive design decisions and help to lead us onwards from the design. So these principles are really allies. They're really collaborators that we can use in order to create more effective, ethical, and efficient designs. Looby?
Yeah, so we have put in the chat there, there's Gemma's put a list of the cultural emergence principles, and then also Delvin's principles from permaculture design notes. So we thought maybe we could do a little bit of interactiveness here. If you go to those two lists and you pick one that you would like for your design, and then we will read the card. So if you if you pick one and then unmute yourself and call it out, and then we'll try and find it in our card deck and share. We'll see how this goes. I'm trying to find ways of making card decks interactive online, which yeah, it's work in progress. So who's picked one of the cultural emergence principles that they would like me to read out that will support them for their design, with their design?
Work to
Anyone?
completion, Looby.
Work to completion.
Work
Great.
to completion.
Okay, great. This is the one we have here, work to completion. Choose scale of completion. Split tasks into manageable pieces. Celebrate achievements and milestones. So is that helpful there for you? Is that Graham? So yeah, rather than trying to work on everything, find the small chunks that you can do and celebrate them. Another one?
Be really realistic.
You, Delvin.
Yes, that is a really important one. I kind of ties into another principle from Rosemary Morrow, who says, be relentlessly honest with yourself about what you can achieve and what you can do. And I think this works really well with the ideas anchor point we were just at, because we have all these different ideas. We're going for quantity more than quality. But when we bring this principle in, it kind of brings things back down to earth. Okay, we have tons of ideas, but which ones are achievable, appropriate, affordable? So yeah, I think that's a really good one to refine our list of ideas and get our feet on the ground and really think, what can we actually achieve with the resources and time that we have? What about another principle?
That's great. I think yeah. I think that being realistic is also a great kind of pairing with something more visionary as well. It's like be expansive and maybe this one here of embrace potential and to really open our arms to possibilities while also being realistic. Laura's got be encouraged there. Yes, let's find be encouraged. Let's see, where is it?
Well, you're looking, I'm just going to note, I'm surrounded by my cards here, but there's 230 in the permaculture design deck. So I'm not actually trying to sift and read through the principles themselves, but this is a free download online too. Oh, we got a whole bunch of cultural emergence principles popping in. You find something, Libby? You got a lot of cards in the seed deck too.
Yeah, I have, and I have sort of made the mistake of mixing several boxes up together, which means that yeah, it's not a recommended strategy, but it's what happened in my life. Be encouraged. Courage is being in touch with our hearts. Being vulnerable is an ability. Reframe nervous energy. So that's a good one. And I did just see.
Could you say something about that, about reframe nervous energy, Looby? Because that one's always really been poignant for me.
Yes, yes. So that came up for me when I got two response lives there. When I was in Sweden doing a course, and we'd been designing for the whole week, and I'd been designing for myself as a storyteller. And we were presenting our designs, and it was going to be my turn next. And I was thinking it, and I was like, "Gosh, why am I so nervous? What's going on here?" And it's like, and then it was like, "Oh no, what's coming up is this energy." And I could name it as nervousness, but actually it was just energy flowing that was going to give me the energy and the spark to really embody the storyteller for my presentation there. And when I did that reframing, it was just like, oh yeah, actually I can really, instead of trying to suppress or negate or ignore this energy, I can actually ride the wave of it and feel empowered by it. So that was where that phrasing came from, and just recognizing it. And it's like, what do we label? Do we label it as fear or nerves, or do we label it as energy that we can utilize and flow with? Yes. So do you want to do Bess's one there, and I'll find the other two cards?
Yes, make the least change for the greatest effect. That's a really key one. It's interesting because the principles play off each other too. And a lot of the principles in the 230 card deck that I've compiled from things I've learned from many teachers, often the principles are reiterations of each other. Like this one, make the least change for the greatest effect, relates to the principle highest use, which is a really important keynote too, and also tipping points, which we're sometimes looking for these leverage points. Like where can we do a small achievable action that will have a big impact and create more yields, or bring us that much closer to achieving our vision, to aligning ourselves with the design brief, with the goals and aims of the design. So that's a really helpful one, and I refer to that one a lot. Strengthen weak links is also tied in with that one too. Sometimes that's a leverage point. How's the card sift going, Looby?
Great. I'm gonna do plan then flow, and then Barbara's offered to do trust the process there. So I have plan then flow here. Plans direct attention, energy, and resources. Follow the energy. Flow with the enthusiasm, curiosity, and impulses that arise. Ask what is needed right now. And this image is there. What we're doing here is planning, but then we know that things will arise in our week, and we'll end up having to flow and change our plans with the circumstances that arise. And the planning is important, and it helps us to see what are the opportunities we want to flow with, what do we want to keep, what's really important that we need to keep, and what can we let go of. So that's that. Barbara, do you have trust the process? Then let me find you and
Yes, I've
spotlight
got
you.
it here. Beautiful image. Trust the process, lean into the methods, articulate the process, and reflect on the ebbs and flows. yeah, for me, trust the process is actually quite simple. And also in the breakout room, I answered to someone, well, if no one dies, then who cares? I mean, it's all not so bad as long as people don't die. So trust the process. It's just life happening.
Yeah, thank you, Barbara. So let's do this last one from Iska here, and then we'll move into the next. So over to you,
Oh,
Delvin.
sorry, Looby. Yeah, I'm already thinking about the cats here and our pause anchor point we're going to move into. Slow spread, sink and store. That is the principle of water and the way water flows through the landscape, which interestingly enough is also the principle of money, of currency. So it can be applied in any different form, but that's really what we're wanting to do with any type of resource. We're wanting to slow it down when it enters into our system, spread it out so it interacts with as many different elements as possible. Maybe even sink and store it a little bit so we hold it in our system for a little while longer so it can keep bringing benefit. And then in some situations, we clean it and release it out and share it, of course, using fair share with the community afterwards. I don't know if you caught the kittens jumping over Looby earlier, but the pause image is like, oh, there they are, a cat curled up. I'm going to read this card. How can you build self-care into your daily life? Wow, look at those kittens. How can you revitalize your relationships? How can you weave rest, fun, and creativity into your design? Incorporate times for rest and rejuvenation. I like this. Be like a cat and take a nap. Well, we're not going to take a nap now, but we thought we might just take a few minute bio break and you can consider how you're going to weave pause into the week ahead. So it's it's not 8:28, 29 here in Canada, but it's 29 past the hour. Why don't we just take a little bio break and a little pause? We're still thinking about the design and come back at 33 past the hour.
We'll do some action. Great, yeah. So we're back from our pause and into action and momentum, which work really well together. So action is the B here, being a productive and effective B. So what are you going to do and when? And then we have momentum of unfurling like a fern and repeat the patterns of growth. So the action are the sort of the implementation, but the momentum is like the maintenance. What are you going to do daily? What are the rituals you're going to bring in to the daily practices to keep momentum in the week? So if you think about this with your action, I mean, there's many ways you can do this, and I'm sure I'd like to invite you to go and do some more of this for yourself, but after the session. But for now, thinking about what are the 3 achievable steps you can take in action, and then in momentum, thinking about what are the daily routines that are going to support your design. Do you have anything to add, Delvin, before people
Yeah, I was
weigh in?
thinking about the dance and how dancing around the design web gathers energy for this step of action and momentum. And this is something that's really important. And just to illustrate that designing and writing up designs can really help energize. And then we can use that energy to just like spin off into doing and keeping the momentum of that doing. So yeah, let's spend a little bit of time doing action and momentum together, showing how the anchor points can be collaborative together too.
esta medicina voy a invocar a Dios. Con esta medicina voy a invocar a Dios. Viva este poder, viva este saber, viva este poder, viva este saber. Yo sigo caminando por la vida y sin temor. Yo sigo caminando por la vida y sin temor, porque llevo a Dios aquí en mi corazón, porque llevo a Dios aquí en mi corazón. Cantemos con alegría, alabando al Señor. Cantemos con alegría, alabando al Señor. Viva Pachamama, viva el Padre Sol. Viva Pachamama, viva el Padre Sol. Con esta medicina voy a invocar a Dios. Con esta medicina voy a invocar a Dios. Viva este poder, viva este saber, viva este poder, viva este saber. Yo sigo caminando por la vida sin temor. Yo sigo caminando por la vida sin temor, porque llevo a Dios aquí en mi corazón, porque llevo a Dios aquí en mi corazón. Cantemos con alegría, alabando al Señor. Cantemos con alegría, alabando al Señor. Viva Pachamama, viva el Padre Sol. Viva Pachamama, viva el Padre Sol. Viva Pachamama, viva el Padre Sol. Viva Pachamama, viva el Padre
Yay, wonderful. Well, I'm gathering energy. This is one of the core intentions of this session is to build momentum so that we can roll into taking action for the next week, for the week ahead. So, yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for coming together and building this group energy.
Yes, so we are moving forwards with the last, well, the last anchor point, and then coming back to the first anchor point that we had. So we were going to do appreciation and then come back to reflection. So appreciation, we have the dog with a wagging tail. Be like a dog and show appreciation for the small things in life. And this is really how can we create a culture of appreciation in our lives. So in our week, starting in our week, and thinking about not so thinking about what you appreciate, but also like what are the rituals of appreciation that you can put in. So you might want to say, okay, every evening I'm going to do a gratitude a journal, or I'm going to think of 10 things I'm grateful for before I get out of bed, or I'm going to start each meeting that I have this coming week with some gratitude. So thinking about those rituals of appreciation that you can put in, and then coming back to reflection, thinking when are you going to put some reflection moments in the week ahead. So maybe you want to do something halfway, or maybe spend 10 minutes at the end of each day with your design reflecting. So it's thinking about when in the week are you going to do that reflection, and to ask yourself, am I on track? What is emerging? So that's, obviously to come in your week, but thinking now about when you're going to do those, that when and how, the appreciation and the reflection. Anything to add, Delvin?
Yeah, I find with appreciation, often what first comes is who do we appreciate and what do we appreciate about ourselves? And as Looby said, the step in that informing the design is to take it to this actionable level of like, how are we going to show that appreciation to ourselves and to the other people we appreciate? And this is the place with reflection where it begins to overlap on evaluation as well. And when we're reflecting during the process of designing, we can be evaluating, how are we achieving our goals and aims? Are we reaching for our vision? What is our relationship to the design brief? How are things going? And that evaluation in the middle of the design, as well as at the end after we've implemented the week, will really help us to pivot and tweak and change and adapt, because some of the ideas that we may be implementing that we thought would help us achieve our vision, our design brief, something else might have come up. It may not be as effective as we thought, or maybe we have a new idea to implement. So taking that time to get back in the designer recliner, to take that reflective pause during the process may be really insightful too. So yeah, we're going to do both of these anchor points, appreciation and revisiting reflection. And Gemma put the questions in the chat.
Okay, so we're so I'm going to put some questions in there for you to reflect at the end of the week as well, of like what happened differently with your week because of doing the design. Did you feel differently about your week, both before the week and during the week? And did you have any unexpected yields? So of course, that's for you to think about and answer at the end of the week. So we have gone through the whole design web now, and you will have a week ahead. It will happen, so it isn't going to be one of those designs that you do, but it didn't really quite happen. It's like, well, it will happen. Your week will happen, so you can do that reflection. You can easily write this up and add some photos and artwork in there to make it visual and interesting for people to read, and do some reflections on the process, which we'll do in a moment, to share it as a diploma design. It's very valid. One of our diploma apprentices, Susan in Ireland, when she learnt this back in March, when we were doing the seed course, and she did a design every week. So it's like, so by the time she's already done like 20 designs, and she's not going to do 10 weeks of designs for her diploma, but she potentially could. But well, once you also do this regularly, you would find that there's themes emerging and limits that keep coming up, and it's like, okay, let's do a design around that limit, or how to create different patterns in your life. And so this process would build. And now we've got 10 minutes left that we'd like to do some reflections on the process. So this is where we take a meta view of what we've done and what we've learned about designing and learned about ourselves as a designer. So yeah, we thought we could do some in the chat and also hear some voices from people. So we're kind of moving out of the details of the design and into the kind of taking a meta view here, a bird's eye view, to think about what did you learn about designing in this process, and top tips for yourself or others. I copy this out, but I would say actually just top tips for yourself or others for designing your week ahead. Yeah. So let's have some reflections in the chat, and then also it'd be great to hear a few voices. How was it? So is there anyone that would like to speak to the group, share something?
Thanks, Barbara. I'm going to throw in, as people gather their thoughts, a few more reflections for the end of the week too that are process oriented that you can kind of stack in, but we're going to keep focused on this pattern level top tips for designing here.
Okay, so yeah, so from Jill, love the breakout room. When you get stuck, others have great ideas, going away with wonderful ideas. Yes, it's so useful to ask other people for ideas. From Gemma, so useful to break it all down, slow the process as this prevents assumptions. Great.
I love what Esther
Esther, really.
said. Really enjoyed it. Found designing with online with others in real time very useful, which we've actually really found too. And this is a pattern you could do with your friends or allies, other people that are designers, of just, if you can't meet in person, just jump online and do design jams, have a design cafe. Suzanne said that it would be really helpful to revisit the different anchor points several times, and perhaps in different order to the original order, go round and round. Yes, that's the dance. And we really just started the design here, but if you keep your momentum, go back and revisit the anchor points, some of them multiple times, you can build this out as a full diploma level design, ready for assessment if you're doing the diploma, or really holistic if you're using this process to support your week ahead and you're not doing the diploma. Either way, it should bring benefit. You want to jump in, Looby?
Yes, so Esther loved the music, very relaxing, and Gemma also said loved the music too. Such a spacious session when all I need is spaciousness currently. So yes, that was what we were thinking for a Friday afternoon, just to allow some spaciousness there and some reflective time for ourselves. From Graham, great to be reminded of the principle of plan and flow. From Amaranta, beautiful to work at the same time together with other people, particularly love the music and atmosphere. From Laura, fast designing can go deep. Yes, yes, exactly. I mean, I think I had my big insight within the first sort of 10 minutes there, and it was deep, definitely.
I want to jump in on that one too and say that one of the blocks is just getting started often. And sometimes if I'm not in the mood to design, or I feel like, oh, it's going to take too long, but don't have enough time, if I just jump in to do a fast design or a quick design or a little microgreen design, I can find my mood changes and I'm carried forward by my own momentum. So Bill Mollison said, once you begin, you'll know how to proceed. And that sometimes it's just a matter of diving in and starting and seeing how that changes the energy of the moment. Um, Jerry said, I like the idea of designing the week ahead and reflecting back. A new way of journaling. Yeah, it is a new way of journaling. It's like permaculture journaling. So you're really learning as you go and practicing designing on a small scale because hey, the design starts when this call's over, right? The week ahead. So we'll roll forward. Francesca said, using the design web for a small design like the week ahead helped me a lot to gain confidence in using this framework. Great session, helpful and inspiring. Thank you so much. That's what we want, is to practice the pattern on a small level, and then you can repeat that pattern again on small levels, or you can scale up appropriately. But the way to get more comfortable and confident and competent with the permaculture design toolkit is to practice it. And the easiest way to practice it is to do it on small designs a bunch of times first before going into the design your life or your whole property or some of these big designs. They're going to take a really long time. You want to jump in?
Yeah, from Steve, agree with Esther that this facilitated design approach was very useful along with the collaborative breakout session. And that's okay that you missed some of the session. That's great. Is there anyone who would like to speak to the group and share any reflections? We've got another one from Martina here. Lots of insights and looking at things from a different perspective. Really love the breakout session. So fruiting, yes. Love that. Anyone like to speak? Yeah, Francesca, lovely.
Sorry, can I just quickly add this? The breakout room was very helpful, especially because you're not saying why, what you have to plan, what you have to, what is the need coming from, where the need is coming from. It really opens so many possibilities that can really then be used in that context, and you really get really much more inspirations and much more useful information also for you to go ahead. Really, it was a super interesting discovery. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, is it by not giving the whole story, you just it just opened things up, didn't it?
I wanted to comment on that too, because we've had a few comments on the breakout room. And of course, we were designing this for the limits of time, but collaborative designing, your whole design can be a breakout room. You can get together with other people and design together and collaborate and co-inspire and generate all sorts of momentum. So yeah, the design cafe idea, exactly. Play around with that and see how it can really help you to collaborate with others, even either on separate designs together or even on the same design if you're working together on something.
Well, we are coming to the end of our time together, keeping with our timing. I'm going to put link in the chat. I'm holding one of the things I'm doing next week is holding a curiosity call for all the courses that I'm running at Applewood and online next year. So if you'd like to sign up for that free call, and I'll put a link in as well for where you can get books, my books and C deck and things from me. Maybe Delvin, you want to put a link in for your design deck, which I have. I actually have a couple of copies of the design deck of Delvin's design deck in the UK at the moment, which he left when he was here last time. So we have that, and that's if you and yeah, and also Delvin, do you have a link for the group diploma adventure, which we will be taking enrolments for next year, another intake of people. I know many of you here are already on that. Yeah, and Gemma, do you want to share what's coming up next?
Yeah, thank you.
Great.
Thank you to you both as well. Just before I say that, Delvin and Looby were both really involved in the design of this event. So right from the very start, thinking about how this process was going to work over the months and centering design in education. So I just really wanted to thank you for all of the work you've done on the event, but also in planning this session today, which was just wonderful and just filled me with joy. So thank you for that. I hope everyone else enjoyed it too, which I can see in the faces that you absolutely did. So thank you. And our next call is on Thursday for the AGM, which will be hosted by Andy Goldring and the board. So I really hope you'll join us for that. We've got 3 sessions left. One is going to be rearranged for later, probably in 2025. So thank you. Thank you for everything today.
And yeah, so we're also, Delvin and I are both involved in designing the event in May as well. No, April. It's April, isn't it? Do you want to share a bit more about that, Gemma, of like what's
well, we're at time, so maybe not right now, if that's okay.
Well, we'll all get to meet. Hopefully, more of us will meet in person there. Thanks, everyone, for this amazing session. And thanks, Gemma, for your guidance.
Great, and Gemma is going to put the chat in the minutes with all the links as well. But yes, looking forward to seeing you in future sessions and seeing how your work, your week ahead goes. So do share that as well. Thank you, everyone.